Hello, I'm meteorologist Ryan Leach, and this is the weather planning briefing for September 6th, 2020. First, we'll start off with the cold front, the backdoor cold front, that's going to be moving through the area on Monday. We're expecting some snow to come with that, and the graphic on the left is the probability or the percent chance that we'll have 0.1 inches of snow or more. So I would equate that to, maybe seeing some snow on the ground or seeing some white on the ground where you live. And you can see that's mainly confined to some of the higher elevation areas, especially along the Continental Divide. But there's also a chance in some of the higher elevation valleys like Phillipsburg and Anaconda and Butte and some of those places. On the right, we have a graphic that is the percent chance or the probability of 1 inch or more of snow. And I would say that this really represents the areas that might have a significant impact from the snow, such as making travel difficult in the backcountry, or if you're in an area where the leaves are still in the trees, you may have some tree damage. And that's mainly confined up here along the Continental Divide and in some of the mountains, but not a negligible chance down in places like, again, Phillipsburg, Anaconda, and Butte, and some of those higher elevation valleys. So again, on the left is really kind of the chance of seeing some white on the ground in the area where you live, and on the right is the probability or the chances of having some significant impacts. Also, I'd like to point out that along the Continental Divide up in Glacier National Park, down through Marias Pass, and then into the Bob Marshall Wilderness, those areas, they actually have a chance of getting maybe up to 4 inches or a little more of snow. So even though we're showing the percent chance of 1 inch of snow, as you go up in elevation, especially in these areas, the potential impacts go up pretty quick too. Sticking with that cold front on Monday, here we have some of the forecast wind speeds. These winds are going to be coming out of the north and the east, and we're looking at generally winds 20 to 30 miles an hour across most of western Montana, with 15 to 20 miles an hour in central Idaho. What you can't really see here is there's a small area along Flathead Lake where we're looking at some stronger winds, and I'll talk about the impacts of those in the next slide. On the right are the maximum gusts that we expect, and again, you can kind of see the gap wind coming through Battle Rock Canyon and affecting Kalispell, looking at wind gusts 45 to 50 miles per hour in that area. Again, some stronger wind gusts on Flathead Lake, which you can't really see in this graphic. But generally across western Montana, we're looking at wind gusts 30 to 40 miles an hour with 40 to 50 up along some of the high mountain passes. In Idaho, expecting wind gusts 25 to 35 miles an hour in central Idaho. So for Flathead Lake, some of the stronger winds we talked about on the east shores of Flathead Lake are going to be generating some winds. We're looking at winds 40 miles an hour are possible here. Gusts 50 miles an hour are likely in this area. And that's going to generate some waves. And this graphic is showing the predicted wave height on Flathead Lake. So the model caps out at 6 feet, so it won't go above 6 feet, meaning all of this dark brown area on Flathead Lake, we're expecting waves of 6 feet or more. And again, this is on Monday. For this graphic, it's valid at 3 p.m., so Monday afternoon, but really these winds are going to start moving through in the morning. So look for those to pick up. And really, this is kind of an ideal setup that we have for large waves on Flathead Lake. It's the end of the summer, so the water is warm and the lake is at full pool. We're going to have north to northeast winds, so that gives them a long fetch, or meaning the winds can move across the lake for a long distance to help build up large waves. And the air mass that's coming in is cold. And all of those things together are really a great setup for large waves on Flathead Lake. So again, looking at the west shores, especially the south and west shores of Flathead Lake, to be the most likely areas for large waves. So if you have a dock or a boat that's out there, make sure you're prepared to deal with that. I mentioned the colder temperatures, or the cold air mass coming in. These are our Sunday high temperatures on the left. Generally in western Montana, we're looking at highs in the 80s, with some of the lower elevation valleys getting up into the 90s. Central Idaho, the lower elevations again in the 90s, but most of the area up into the 80s. By Monday, the high temperatures will be down in the 50s, and then 60s to maybe 70 in central Idaho. So we're looking at a 20 to 30 degree drop in high temperatures from Sunday to Monday. Now, the low temperatures, they're going to come with this cold air mass. This is Monday night and Tuesday morning. We're looking at a hard freeze in the mountains and also some of the higher elevation valleys like Phillipsburg, Anaconda, and Butte. But even in some of the lower elevation valleys like Yak, Libby, Trout Creek, and Missoula, Bitterroot Valley, Flathead Valley, and the Mission Valley, looking at a frost, if not a freeze, for the first time this year. And some of these lower elevation valleys may still have some more sensitive vegetation or garden plants out there. And point out, even in central Idaho, some of the lower elevation areas, they're going to be susceptible to a frost. Pierce comes to mind, susceptible to a frost or a freeze in those areas. Again, this is the forecast for Monday night and Tuesday morning, but we expect very similar conditions Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. So after we get through that Monday cold front, looking out into the longer term, some of the 6 to 10 day period, we are expecting that ridge of high pressure that we've had over the area to build back in. So we're looking at dry conditions mostly, as well as above average temperatures. So once this front gets through, it's kind of a blip, a very strong blip, but we kind of get back to the same weather pattern that we've had before with high temperatures in the 80s and not very much rain or precipitation. And that's all for this briefing. If you need any more information, our phone number is on the slide, and we are here 24 hours a day. Thank you.